A gentleman called me from northern Wisconsin, and he's about an hour north of me, and said that he wanted to learn about the Anat Ben Yael method for his son, who's 9, has cerebral palsy, and he just fell in love with you on the internet and wanted more. I mean, he was really there. And I've had lots of things this past couple weeks, but we made it happen for us to meet his son, for me to meet his son on Tuesday. And then again on Thursday before flying out here. And they called me yesterday and said that he rolled over for the first time.
Oh.
And yeah, after I landed, they were just so tickled that they just said that's a great fit, and they're just so excited. They're going to hopefully come and see you in Chicago and possibly in Michigan. So
To see me meaning take the workshop.
yeah, take the workshop. They want
And they should come to the free presentation. By
definitely.
The way.
Yep, that's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
anyway, it's just so great to be a part of this work. So.
Oh, thank you.
Is I had such an opening along the left side of my spine and my back, right sort of in this area here, where when I was walking and doing my life, I have felt that area for the first time ever, and my hip has not bothered me since. So it's just really incredible. Also, I'd like to share my 14-year-old Dominique that I've been working with came out here for 2 weeks and had 2 weeks of lessons with Anat and Cheryl, Joseph, and Neil. And when I saw her, when she came back to Tucson, I just could not believe her walking. It was just incredible. So it's really marvelous work. Thank you.
Oh.
That has oh boy, I can't say the word. Encephalitis?
Encephalitis?
Yeah. And she got me through the internet from a chat line in Texas. So she Googled Anat Ben Yael method and found out that there was 4 practitioners in Canada, and I was one, and I was right in her town. So she brought the little girl over, and oh, she's so sweet. So I'm working with her, and she's now starting to get a little bit more free in her movements, and the mom's really pleased. She told me I couldn't come here. Yeah, and then I have another little boy who's missing a chromosome. Mom brings him in, and she said he's really shy and he won't talk to you and yada yada, all that stuff. And I looked at him. I says, "Is that a smile I see?" And a couple of times I did that, and like he just she said he's never babbled with any of his practitioners or anything. So she's really enjoying the work. So I've got like 6 children now that I'm working with, and the adults. So yeah, I love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And a friend of mine had a baby in early July, and I went out. She said, "You have to come see this child before you leave again." And so I went over, and they're a lovely couple. And she said she works with Pilates, and she was ballet dancer, and she said he's not kicking with his left leg. And I was holding him. I said, "Oh, well, you do a little bit of this and a little bit of that," and his left leg starts to kick. It was wonderful to hold him, and he very healthy baby, but yeah, so thank you so much.
I work in acute care hospital. I saw a man with a minor stroke, and I worked with him standing at the wall, and afterward he said, "I feel so alive in my chest."
Oh.
And it was just beautiful. He looked like he was coming alive. It was beautiful.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I can say I work in a veterans hospital, so I work with old, retired military guys. And so we're getting quite a few guys coming back from Iraq. And so I've been termed the headache specialist there, and I'm going to start running groups for the young guys coming back to help with headaches and whatever other traumas they've had. So that's been
It's so important.
That's been great.
This
So
work
it's
should
good.
be so into all the rehab. It would make such a big difference. I've done some work. I mean, being from Israel, I should talk to you guys about that. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm working with a 14-year-old girl, and she has cerebral palsy, and she's had a lot of surgeries and trouble, turning over. And the last time I worked with her, she was on the floor, and she was able to roll, which was wonderful for her. And she just said, "I love my body. I love my body." It was just,
Oh. Oh.
it was really wonderful.
I just got back from my first trip up to Spokane, and they brought a baby to me who has something called Mobius syndrome, which I had never heard of before. But apparently 2 of the cranial nerves don't develop, and this little boy doesn't have any expression in his face. He's a year old, and in order for him to suckle, his mother has to really hard squeeze his mouth like that. And by the end of the first lesson, she barely touched his face, and he sucked down a whole bottle by himself. So that was really exciting. And the second time, he just drank the bottle essentially by himself. She just barely had her fingers there just to remind him. Second thing is, my niece just had a baby, and at 3 days, she came next door and said, "Aunt Marilee, the doctor says the baby has torticollis, and it's going to take a lot of work to blah, 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 you know, all these negative things about the progression of it and so on." So she, "Would you see what you can do?" And of course, did I say no? I picked up the baby, and I had her against me, and I just touched her lower back, and she tilted her head the other way. I mean, it was like 2 minutes. Her dad's mouth dropped open, their eyes got really big. And of course, I had to do some follow-up stuff, and I had forgotten to work in her mouth. Now, most of you, in our advanced baby training, Anad Demo did it with a baby with torticollis, and then I had to do it with a baby with torticollis, and it worked so beautifully. So finally, I worked in her mouth, and it made this dramatic, huge shift. But then she didn't turn her head. The doctor was still not happy. Still, if it's not all done by 2 months, she's going to have all this daily physical therapy. So she said she still doesn't turn her head. So I picked her up, and I held her head in one hand, and I just turned her pelvis like this, and she turned her head the other way. So I will be following up, but worked great.
Wonderful. Carla, come closer. Don't come to the closer. They say, take the microphone.
Well, I wanted to speak both to the children and to the network, because I just get calls all the time now from people who've been on the chat rooms or wherever about a Not Panyal method, and I'm really enjoying the network among us too. So John Robson had somebody who came up to be checked at UVA for his Parkinson's, and came to me while he was there, and Jenna was seeing a baby in Florida, and they're in the military, and now they've moved to Virginia. She said, "Oh, don't worry that you're afraid, Mom. There's somebody in Virginia." and so that's what I wanted to speak to, because he's a lovely baby who's had open heart surgeries and has a little G tube, and so he stopped rolling over because they put in a tube for his feeding, and right away he rolled over, and Mom came right back, and then she said, "Well, he's not really doing it at home." Then she emailed me afterwards. She said, "Well, now after the second one, now he's doing it at home again. He's back to rolling over." But I'm really appreciating the networking among us and among the parents who are just finding things from each other. And so word is out.
Wonderful.
And spreading.
Well, back in June, I did a free children's clinic, and I had 23 kids come. So from this clinic, this mom called me back and said, "I'd like to do a week intensive with you." So I saw her twice a day for a week. And at the end of the week, I said to this young woman, she was just afraid to move, afraid of everything. I said, "What did this mean to you?" And she said, "I feel like my comatose brain is waking up to the possibilities of life." She did really great.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And from that clinic, I've just been having kids come in left and right, so it's been quite a fun experience.
Fantastic. Congratulations.